Hello and welcome guys to another video of The Walking Dead. Today I want to go over 15 figures for The Walking Dead comic book I would like to see get made. So yeah, we have been there has been very little in terms of comic book merchandise, especially because it's the 15th anniversary of the comic book. I really want to see some characters get made into figures, so without further ado, let's get into them. I'm not going to number these because I'm probably going to lose count, so yeah, but there are 15 characters, so here we go. Here's number 15 anyway, which is Maggie Green. Maggie Green has been a character that's been around since issue number 10. She is a huge character, and the fact that she hasn't had a figure yet is pretty astonishing. Her character is so damn important to the story, and I think a cool thing for her to come with would be Herschel Jr. That, and also another thing that'd be nice to see her with would be a gun. So you could have her point at your Negan figure if you want, like in this image right here. So yeah, that is what I gotta say on Maggie. Great character, definitely deserves a figure to go along with the Series 5 Glenn figure. So hopefully she's one of the next figures we get. Anyway, moving on to our next character. Our next character is, of course, Tyrese. Tyrese was a very big character at the start of the comic book. By the way, this video contains spoilers. I'm going to go over characters and what happens to them, so yeah. Anyway, Tyrese took over as Rick's right-hand man after the death of Shane, and he stayed right-hand man up until his death by the governor in Volume 8, Made to Suffer, the Made to Suffer storyline. He is a badass character. I think it'd be cool if he came with an alternate head without the beanie and another head where it's just, his walker head and it comes with Michonne's katana to put through his head, kind of like the Herschel figure they made for the TV show, seeing how he got the death comic Tyrese got. So yeah, I think obviously he'd have to have his hammer as well. So let's hope Tyrese is another character that gets made into a figure. Anyway, next up we have Magna. Magna is a newer character, not that new. She's been around in the comics for a little bit now, but despite the fact she hasn't been around as long as characters like Eugene or Negan, she has definitely left her mark on the series, still being in the comic book to this day. She is in a relationship with a fellow character, Yumiko, and yeah, they're both pretty cool characters, and expect to see Yumiko on this list next. So yeah, Magna definitely deserves a figure. Being a newer character, I think, they made the Whisperers, they made Lydia. I think Magna would be a cool character to add to your new beginning characters, the figures. So yeah, that's Magna. Anyway, next up is Yumiko. Yumiko is actually a pretty cool character. Not as big a character as Magna, but still a pretty big character. Her and Magna are currently with Michonne, Princess, Eugene, and Steek, and they are all at the Commonwealth in the storyline now. But yeah, anyway, another thing about Yumiko is she's one of the only characters to use a bow and arrow, as seen in this image right here, which is pretty unique. We see characters with crossbows, swords, but, a bow and arrow, not as often. We've seen a few characters like Glenn from the Claimers and Diane from the Kingdom in the TV show, but yeah, character like Yumiko would be a cool one to get in the comic line for the McFarlane figures, which is what this list is for anyway. Here we have Laurie. Now, whether you like her or not, I personally do. I think Laurie was such a big part of the series. She definitely deserves a figure. And Like, the fact that we haven't gotten one yet, especially for the TV show, like, we haven't even gotten a TV show one yet, is just crazy seeing how she was such an important character. As for accessories, I think she should come with, of course, like Maggie, come with her child, Judith. Now, I would say why not give them separate figures, and you could say this counts as two different figures, but seeing how they're just like kids, like really young kids, I think you could, have them just come as accessories. So yeah, I think Laurie would be a cool character to get for an addition to the Grimes family. Speaking of the Grimes family, next up we have Carl Grimes. Now, the Carl Grimes figure we got for Series 4 of the comic book was a damn good figure. Basically, having all of these looks from issue 1 all the way up to, well, his first appearance is issue 2, but he appears in a photograph of issue 1, but all the way up to issue 126. Now, in the comic book, he has a different look. Instead of just the two eyes, one exposed eye, and then the bandage around his eye, now he wears either glasses or he just has his eye exposed, which is what he mainly does nowadays. I think it'd be cool if he had an alternate head, one with glasses, one without the glasses, and I think he would be a great figure to put alongside Lydia for, you know. Also, I think another cool figure to put him with would be the New Beginning Rick figure. And yeah, anyway, moving on, another character he'd go great with is Sophia. Sophia is one of the longest living characters in the comic book. She's one of the Atlanta Three. Rick, Carl, and Sophia are the only characters from the first volume that are still alive. And even though she's not really a main character, like, she is a main character, but not as main as someone like Eugene, Michonne, Carl, Rick. Robert Kirkman has said there is a plan for her, and I really hope to see more from her character soon. And yeah, I would like if we get a look like this for the Sophia figure. Again, to put with the New Beginning Carl and Lydia, seeing how they have their stuff going on right now at the moment. So yeah, I think Sophia would be an absolutely awesome character to get a figure of. And yeah, next up is probably the newest character that I'm putting on this list, but it is, of course, the great Officer Mercer. Officer Mercer is the leader. All we know about Officer Mercer is that he's basically the leader of the Commonwealth militia. He has two, I think you call them tomahawks, I'm pretty sure that's the name for them, but he's just a badass. Even though we don't know that much about him, I would love to see a figure for him because I think he is well deserving of one. Look at that face, like, he just looks like, just don't piss me off, I'm not having a good day. That's the face he has there. Um, yeah, I would buy a Mercer figure, definitely. I think you can make him a Skybound exclusive, like the beta you did, like the beta Skybound did back at the end of 2017. So yeah, another character that would be cool to see a figure of is Juanita Sanchez, aka the Princess, who is also a pretty divisive character like Laurie, with some people loving her, some people hating her. Personally, I've always liked her character ever since she was introduced back in issue 171. Granted, she hasn't been around that long, and we haven't gotten that much time to know her, so I would say hold off judgment until we have more on her. Now, issue 178, which is currently, as of this recording, the newest issue of the Walking Dead comic book, seeing her defend her friends or group when they were getting threatened was so nice to see, and the fact that she is a very loyal character really makes her, a good one. So I think Princess is ride or die with our group, and she's definitely welcomed to the Walking Dead family. So yeah, moving on to a classic character, Dale. Of course, Dale is the one that would drive the RV in the early days of the comic book. He is a awesome character. people may not like his relationship with Andrea, and even though people say he's better than the TV version, I've gone back, read through the Fear the Hunters arc, reread it, and when I was seeing the letter hacks, people were actually talking about how much they hate him now. So, it wasn't always peachy for Dale. Anyway, I think it'd be cool if he comes with two removable legs, one to replace it with the peg leg and the other to replace it with the stump, kind of like the Bob Stuckey figure we got for the TV show, except that only had the stump because he never got a peg leg. But I think getting both of those for the Dale figure would be pretty damn cool. So yeah, Dale would be cool, especially if he has a removable hat like the TV show version. And we're moving on to one of my favorite characters, Dante. Out of all the characters introduced in between issue 126 and 127 to A New Beginning, out of Magna, Dante, the Whisperers, Sadiq, he's my favorite out of those new characters. Now, when it comes to characters like Princess, the Commonwealth, they're in a different category, but yeah, Dante is my favorite out of this lot. And yeah, what can I say about him? I really hope Alden is not going to take his place on the TV show. I like Alden, but I want Dante in the show as well. I really love his character, and the fact that he even got together with Maggie, well, that's still up in the air whether they're together or not, but the fact that he makes her happy enough to move on past Glenn means, he's a pretty good guy, and he's really capable. Like, look at that. Anyway, Heath. Heath, I'm just going to say right now, is not on my TV show figure list because they have not done much with the character, and the character's been missing since season 7. So, if he does more in upcoming seasons, because he might reappear in season 9, then I say I would put him on the list. However, with Comic Heath, I'm sorry, Comic Heath is a really awesome character. He's a fan favorite. He's been here since issue 69. I actually have that first issue that he appears in, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I think it'd be cool if he came with an alternate leg for his prosthetic leg when his leg, spoiler alert, gets blown off during All Out War, which is of course something they didn't do for the TV show. Not even with a different character like Scott or something, but I'm okay with that. So yeah, Heath is a pretty loyal character and he's a pretty long running character, so to see him would be great. Anyway, next up is Pamela Milton, the Governor of the Commonwealth. She's another pretty new character, and we also do not know much about her. We know her son, Sebastian, is a colossal fucking dickhead. And yeah, I really hope, he runs into Negan and Negan kicks his fucking ass and Rick kicks his fucking ass. So yeah, the governor herself, I like her a lot. I like Sebastian because he'll definitely create good drama out of it, and he is entertaining in the fact where he's just such a big douchebag. But Pamela Milton is a huge character now, and I I imagine she's going to be in the comic book for a pretty long time. So I think a figure of her would be very much appreciated. And we're also not done with the Commonwealth because next up we have, of course, the one and only Elodie, Michonne's daughter. Since Michonne has been introduced in the comic book, the whereabouts of her two daughters and ex-husband have been unknown until recently when Elodie showed up at the Commonwealth. And in confirming that her younger sister Colette and ex-husband for Michonne, Dominic, have both died. She has been a glimmer of hope that there is still, a chance for people to reconnect with their past. And yeah, I think it's great that they brought her back into the comic book. Well, she was never really in the comic book, but just to see her actually show up and give Michonne that hope is really awesome. So I'm really happy they did this. I remember reading the issue and just being blown away by this reveal. Good on you, Robert Kirkman. Anyway, next up is a pretty underrated character, and if you watched my comic collection video, you know I like this character of Alice. Alice was a character they didn't bring into the TV show. I can understand why they didn't really need her, but still, she was a pretty cool character. very loyal to Rick's group, even sacrificing herself during the Made to Suffer arc. It's because of her Judith was born and Dale survived his first bite. So for that, she was a pretty awesome character, pretty likable for the time she was in the comics. She was in it for a little bit, and she was just an awesome character. Very nice, very talkative, got on well with the characters, and she was definitely a fighter. I would have loved to see her carry on in the comic book, but I can understand why they would kill her off at that point. So yeah, that's my list. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with more lists soon. See you